welcome back, everyone, to NA Amateur Worlds Gold. Oh God, Gold Amateur Worlds. I said NA. And we have ourselves. We're preparing ourselves for Game Two, Team Kitchen against Team TD Aftermath. As we have already seen Team Kitchen win their first game, and once again, Team TD Aftermath lost against Mint Gaming. Let me see if we can see the match history. Let's see how fast that game was and whatnot. So what do you guys think so far? Have you looked at the match history, or what do you think about these two teams coming out now that we've gotten the first games out the way? Moose?
I yeah, I'm here. We're here. We're ready. I got my iced coffee. We're ready to go. Um,
Nice.
but I really think it's gonna be difficult for Kitchen and for especially Rivet to top his performance in game one.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
getting a pentakill and a quadra kill is definitely a very difficult thing to do, and so being able to make that happen is definitely a good step in the right direction for Kitchen. TD TDA falling to Mint Gaming Rocky Road is definitely concerning because I think Mint Gaming Rocky Road is definitely a phenomenal team, but
Mm-hmm.
you can't count out a team from one game to another. You have to just take that mental, whatever that may be, either winning or losing, and try not to apply that into game two because it is a completely different game against a completely different team.
Yeah. I think Kitchen played super well there, but I also do think just coming from draft, they were given a lot of super strong picks. Like being able to just grab the Wukong while champions like I think Lulu was banned. Senna got banned, but I agree with Senna bans for sure. But like Jarvan getting banned instead of Wukong, it might be looking for they Ibiza might have just been banning based on comfort rather than looking at the meta. But like
Mhm.
Okay.
Wukong's been a thing for like a month plus
Yeah.
now.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, so I guess we'll have to see how Team TD Aftermath respond to this with the drafts and the picks and things like that, as once again, they've lost the game, but I'm sure they saw a little bit of what Team Kitchen was playing. Maybe they checked out the draft and everything like that. So maybe we'll see some more appropriate bands, or maybe they'll just go for some meta bands or comfort bands that we saw from the first draft. Who knows? But before we get into draft here, let's get into predictions real quick, and then we'll transition into draft. So predictions once again. Who do we think?
Okay, I'm not gonna make the same mistake twice. I think Kitchen has it.
Are you saying that because you're copying me, or are you saying that because you truly think Team Kitchen's got it?
Listen,
It-
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just a boomer with a microphone and some Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Um, I, I was very impressed with what we saw out of Kitchen in game one, and I expect them to be just as good in game two.
Sure. Jeeves.
Yeah, I mean I feel like I'm gonna get accused of hopping on the bandwagon, but
Oh my goodness.
I,
Wow. They're really copying me, y'all.
uh yeah, I mean after the performance we just saw, I've got my apron and my chef's hat ready and I'm ready to start casting in Swedish.
Ooh
Alrighty,
wee.
alrighty. That's a bar right there. I'm also gonna just go for Team Kitchen. I'm gonna stick with the team that I've stuck with so far. And just roll with it from there. Uh Aftermath, sorry for any biases. It's not bias, it's just, I gotta stay loyal. I don't flip over here.
It's
But
just good business.
exactly, exactly, exactly. But with that being said, I believe we will transition into draft. So stay tuned as we get ready for game two of the day, Team Kitchen versus Team TD Aftermath.
L- Let's go. We're gonna jump into it. And now I am really, really excited to see if TDA does ban out that Kaisa that Rivert had in game one. I mean, Jeeves, like any other like I mean, what can we expect? What do you think we can expect here in game two?
Like I can see the idea was banning out Kaisa, but I wonder how much of it was specifically the champ Kaisa versus just overall really good team play.
Mhm.
And obviously that was like a lot of the backline access, the engage, the assassinations onto Dilly and Chitin there were what enabled that. And no one really does that the way Kaisa does. So I could definitely see that as I could see that as a game plan, but then you leave open picks like they could run something like Illusion Nami, which seems to still be grossly OP even after the durability patch. There's just so many good bot lanes, and I I I would understand it if TD goes for the Kaisa ban here.
I mean, this is just exactly what, we get to see at Amateur Worlds is we get to see all of these players really make these opportunities come through. And yes, the Kaisa was really good in game 1, but that doesn't mean that it was the only part of what Kitchen was able to bring to the table. They had that Ari. ZZ5 was playing phenomenally well with that as well. And TDA is not going to let that happen. They're going to ban out the Ari, but they're also going to take away the Olaf here.
Olaf, interesting. I feel like if I mean Olaf brings nothing to the Wombo combo comp that Kitchen pulled out, but it would have been better for matching the split pushing. Uh, so I Yeah, I don't know about the Olaf, but I guess we're gonna see whether or not the Senna ban was needed by Ibiza because it got blue side first picked.
100%. I think, Senna is one of those picker band champions that are coming into the table right now. You can pair it with so many different supports and work out really, really well with it. You can go for a fasting Senna when a TK, you can go with a Leona, you can go with an Enchanter. There's just so many options that Senna is able to bring to the table right now, and it definitely makes sense for Kitchen to be able to pick it up B1. But you were talking about it, Jeeves, and we get to see it.
Uh,
The Shyvana in the jungle. I need you to tell me about that because I am against the dragon in the jungle, I guess. I don't play it at all. So yeah, what are your thoughts?
I was wondering what Convey was going to be playing because when looking through the OPGG, a vast majority of games played were on the Kane, so that's a supernatural ban. But all right, Shyvana, she has such a fast jungle clear. Like max the W, you clear the camps on spawn, and really no one else can farm like she can at the moment. But the dueling power she gets between the max HP damage on autos from her E, the AP scaling on her abilities, the normal build these days is the Frostfire Gauntlet into Demonic Essence. And all my jungle Shyvana discussion, it might be out the window with the Lilia pick.
Yeah, my jaw is as low as it can go. Lilia getting locked in does really put into a lot of question mark of what TD Aftermath wants to bring to the table here because Lilia can go mid lane, can go top lane, but is most proficient in the jungle. Shyvana most proficient in the jungle as well. So some flexibility here, a little bit of spice coming in game 2. Very excited to see it as we do get some support bands coming through from Kitchen. The Lulu and the Renata not going to be available, denying some of those enchanters that TD Aftermath could try to pair up with that Jinx. The mid lane is going to get targeted. ZZ5 will not have access to the Zoe or the Vigar.
And I love the Thresh pick coming out of TD. The changes in the patch notes, the like one Thresh player I know has said it looks like, I don't know if he's tested it at all, but it looked like Thresh was getting really good changes this patch. And I
Mhm.
think the champ is in general strong.
Indeed. Really, really strong to pair up with the Jinx as well. You get into the death sentence followed by the Chompers. You get tons of CC, tons of mobility lockdown into tons of damage. So it definitely makes sense there. Kitchen is opting for, again, a very hefty frontline composition with the
Yep.
TK Trundle and now the Bruisery Urgot. I am super pumped if this Talia
Ooh.
gets locked in.
Oh,
Kitchen,
there it is.
yes. Oh, baby. I'm super excited. Talia coming out to play in game two. Kitchen just wins my heart immediately.
Oh my god. It's a really interesting comp they have for themselves. It's so different than what they just played. Like going from the heavy Wombo comp to this like very bruisery, a bit more disjointed comp, I think. It's a super different look out of the kitchen lineup here.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. You get a lot more late game scaling out of this composition, but you still have some early game insurance with Ziggy as potentially going into the jungle here as the Trundle. Mid
Yeah.
lane ZZ5 Talia is going to have the opportunity to potentially find themselves, a little bit rough in the early game, but they actually don't get countered with any early game mid laner. You're going to see the Corki get locked in for Buckby, which means that you have two scaling mid laners that are going to be able to take their time and try to do what they can to get scaled up in the early game. Roaming potential, though, from ZZ5 once again is going to be there. You can go into that Weaver's Wall and make it a 4v3 once again, which is exactly what they were able to do in game one.
Yeah, the roaming potential for Talia, because they just buffed her passive, right? It takes her
Mm-hmm.
longer to lose the speed buff when she moves away from the wall. So that's yeah. It the early skirmishes should be looking similar with them looking to convert these 3v3s into 4v3.
Mm-hmm.
I still have
Exactly.
no idea who's gonna go into top lane and who's gonna go into jungle for TD.
Yeah, I think that they were thinking that, with the Trundle getting locked in, the Trundle can still go into the top lane. We could still
Yeah,
potentially see a Talia jungle here. We can still see a
true.
Talia jungle. Urgot can go into the mid lane. Trundle can go into the top lane. Talia jungle with the Senna TK in the bottom lane. I think that that is the only confirmation that we have for both teams. Kitchen is going to be Senna TK. TDA is going to be Jinx Thresh. That is a guarantee, but the mid lane, the mid lane, the jungle, and the top lane are still potentially up for grabs here for TDA.
Like I think the Lilia is the better matchup into Urgot, but it's such an APM check. Like if you fail even one misclick at level 6 and you could be eating the Urgot ult into just getting snowballed out of existence.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy.
Shyvana is a little bit of a tougher matchup, but I think you just build the Shyvana full bruiser, like I don't know if drinker, like something AD bruisery is what I usually see in top lane rather than the tanky AD for the jungle. But
Mm-hmm.
like when I say usually for top lane Shyvana, it's like I've seen one, maybe two games in this past season where that was a thing.
Yeah, and we're gonna get to see it though. We are gonna get to see
Yep.
Ikazuki play against Hajime as that Shyvana. So you're looking to see if you're able to land the E into the Dragon's Bite. That's the Q. It is going to be Ziggy playing as the Trundle. ZZ5 is going to be playing as a Talia. So a little bit of a theme coming out of ZZ5, playing these champions that can roam around and look to be able to impact these side lanes.
Yeah. The Trundle versus Lilia matchup can go well. Like whichever of those gets the lead, like Lilia can really just run away with things, but Trundle has so many slows in his kit, and if he manages to like actually get onto her, that can get really rough. But like on paper, I like Lilia versus Trundle, but I've never won that matchup when playing it myself.
It is somewhat difficult. You do get a little bit more movement speed out of for Convey here as the Lilia. You do have the
Yeah.
opportunity if you do land those stacks and you do get that movement speed to kind of outmaneuver Ziggy in the potential 1v1. But if Trundle is able to land one Q, is able to land one chomp, you are slowed to oblivion. Trundle is just going to wail on the little fawn, and there's nothing that you can do to stop him until you hit level 6 with the Lilting Lullaby. And even then, Trundle just doesn't really care. Can subjugate, and he does have 2 decently fine subjugation targets with the Shyvana and the Thresh, but even then, Trundle doesn't care. He's going to be able to go in against those dots and will still be able to get some sort of regen. He's got regen on his Q. He's got regen just built into his kit with his passive. So you're looking to see if he can potentially beat him out in the 1v1, but it is still anybody's game. TDA does still have potentially some really nice scaling in the Lilia, Corki, and the Jinx.
Yeah, if they manage to take it to late game, Jinx and Corki are absolutely bonkers in late game.
Yeah.
Like there's so much damage that Corki can, and there's a big tanky front line for Kitchen, but like the Talia, the Senna, like are squishy enough that they could get one shot by the Corki once the items come online.
I think what worries me though, and why Tilly is such a strong B5 pick for ZZ5 here, um is the scattered stones, the E that Talia has. If you're able to land it on top of Buckbee or on top of Ikazuchi, you're able to stun them out of their Valkyrie or their Dragon's Descent because it is a dash. And now, if you get hit by the E, if you pop one of those E stones, you end up you end up getting stunned out of it. So it's important for, I think, for ZZ5 to be able to land the E, and it's important for Buckbee and for Ikazuki to be mindful of that, because if they're not, they could potentially be dealing a ton of damage to themselves.
Yeah, and like you can see where there's a bunch of setup, there's a bunch of displacement on this Kitchen comp, like the Urgot Flip, the Trundle Pillar, the Tom Kench Spit, all into that Talia worked ground is the Q. The
Yeah,
Talia like patch of ground and really set up these Cassiopeia like plays with the grounding effect.
I mean, we'll have to see how it does play out. You got to be able to land it, and that is the most important thing. Before we take it to a break, really, really quickly, Jeeves, I got to ask you, 1 in 5 chance of being correct. What is the Dragon Soul for game 2?
I'm guessing Cloud.
Okay, Cloud it is. I was right the first time with Infernal.
Yep.
You know, we're gonna double down. Infernal again for game 2.
Ooh, spicy.
I know, right? Chat, let me know what you guys think the rift is going to be for game 2, what that dragon rift is going to be. If I see any Chemtech rifts in the chat, I'm going to be unhappy moose here at the caster desk. But you know what? Regardless of my happiness or not, we're about to be into a great game of League of Legends. We've got to get to see if Kitchen can go 2-0 against TD Aftermath, or will TD Aftermath be able to get their first win here in group? Let's find out. We'll be back shortly. All right, everybody, we are back to game 2, and just FYI, Moose has a mini-map. I am completely logged in here for game 2 as we are live to see if Kitchen can get themselves a game 2 victory, but it wouldn't be Worlds without a disconnect. Let's go.
Oh, they unpaused right away, though.
Okay, thank God. Okay, thank God for that. But unfortunately, I am not Nostradamus. I am wrong in game 2. It's not going to be another Infernal, but it is going to be, a pretty thrilling start to the game. We get some vision wars going down from both sides. I got to ask you here. I got to ask you, Jeeves, any expectations in terms of keystones? Or any thoughts you want to go for any of these keystones here, Jeeves?
Stones. Ooh, interesting. The phase rush for Lilia.
Uh-oh. Okay, we
Okay.
gotta get our timer correctly again. I'm at
Yeah.
what's our time, Matt?
119, 120.
Keep on going for me. I gotta go to
7,
131.
8.
We're there. We're good. We're ready.
Whew.
All right. Shout out to Matt for counting me down on the mic. Okay. Anyway, G, you were saying.
Yeah. Uh, so I like the phase rush for Lilia. I think it's the more stable rune. I'm greedy and I usually take Dark Harvest on her, which might be why I have a losing win rate.
Oh.
In mid lane, though, I like that we have first strike versus first strike. So one of them is gonna be losing out on that gold.
Exactly. I think, in the mid lane, ZZ5 and Buckby can utilize First Strike very effectively, and it is a scaling rune. Like, you're not going to be getting a lot of gold out of it in the early game, but you're looking to see that burst damage. As we do get the level 1 play, the Death Sentence does not land from Odaro, but he's going to flash forward into River, who's now down to 100 HP. First Blood gonna go down to Odaro, and TD Aftermath is going to end up taking that first kill.
Oh my god, and yeah, that's just getting the level 2 advantage on that bot lane. Solus and Ordaro, like, getting the XP, pushing the waves, and the hook missed, which was funny enough, but okay. There's the new Talia kit right in action.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Seismic Shove deals no damage, but the Scattered Stones, they do. Unraveled Earth is so strong now, because not only does it deal damage, but it also stuns. But it's really, really big for TD Aftermath to be able to get that first blood. Now, let me ask you, Jeeves, do support lives matter? Do they matter?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 100%.
So you're cool with Odaro getting the first blood gold?
It worked out fantastically for Kitchen in game 1, where Frexy got the early kill in there. We were a little bit worried Dilly had the kill for CBI, but Frexy got the first kill. But, like, it worked, and now here's Ziggy, but alright. Yeah, I think especially for engaged champions, getting early gold is really, it helps the overall bot lane game plan anyways, because they get that little bit of durability, they get their items, and they can just play the game. And like, they're gonna get the gold anyways because of passive gold generation. But especially with the support item, the Thresh, like I guess Rivered would be the support in this situation, even though that's not the role they're gonna be playing in the overall. But yeah, no, I do like Ordaro getting the gold. I think that, and especially spending it on boots is so clutch for the support. Like, he's gonna be looking to roam. He's gonna be looking to even just make the play like they did in that first blood, just walking up, and they flashed in that play as well, which they don't have. But it looks like Ziggy is looking for a gank in bot here.
Yeah, Frexy's going to be able to get the Abyssal Voyage into damage onto Odaro. It's going to be the Tongue Lash landing. The stun's going to come through, and the kill is going to go to Rivered. Good guys, Frexy and Ziggy not taking that one, giving 300 over to Rivered.
Yeah, and just the call being made, everyone knowing to stop damage onto Ordaro except for Rivered. Like, it sounds almost condescending to say that, but like, there's so many times where people are just right-clicking and it's the heat of the moment. And I mean, thankfully they'd communicated that the flash was on cooldown, so there was very little risk of Thresh getting out of that. But like, this stuff happens.
I'm the worst with that. When I'm playing jungler, I'm always taking kills from my lanes and I'm getting flamed. But it's because I'm actually not mechanically good at the game. So it only makes sense that I steal all the kills. I take CS, I steal kills. I'm everything and everyone that you hate about League of Legends. But someone has to be the villain.
Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. Just like you've been going with the boomer excuse. Like, I'm in my 30s. I can just say I failed a reaction check.
Okay, but Hajime is now maybe in trouble. Fear Beyond Death is going to land, and they're looking to potentially be able to find something here onto Convey, who has no mana and cannot follow up with any more damage. Ikazuki will be down to 300 HP, but the play does not work and let that out in any kills. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Visual Voyage is going to come through. Odaro is going to be the target once again. And we get the Weaver's Wall from ZZ5. He actually has a flash to be able to try to find the seismic shove on to a Solus as Odaro goes down to Rivered. And it's a double kill for the Senna once again. Buckby is not there quickly enough and might actually try to go in for the play. Can't quite do it. Meanwhile, topside, Igazuki does have enough rage to go in for Dragon's Descent. We'll have to use it to try to get away from Ziggy. He does. Who for nothing over to Kitchen.
Whew. All right. So I guess they just need they need to get first blooded before they really come online, this Kitchen squad.
That is a consistency.
But like, yeah, super good. And with ZZ5 splitting the attention for TD into the bot lane, I like Ziggy going for top because Urgot is so not. It is almost the opposite of Malphite in that like Malphite finished the game down like 75 CS, had like 0 kills, I think, at the end of that game. But you can't get away with that with Urgot. You're gonna be able to get the ult into flash to get the big 5-man fear, but you don't contribute as much when you don't have any gold on the earth. And especially because it's going to be this AD Shyvana, like, ooh, we've got a gank in mid.
Oh, ZZ5 is going to miss the death sentence, but is trying to be able to get away from all the CC. Nope. Buckby will pick up one.
Yeah, the 4-man squad showing up in mid. Maybe a little overkill, but like, got the job done, and they're taking this dragon.
Yeah, easy money there. They knew that ZZ5 did not have flash, utilized it in that last play bottom lane. So now they're going to be trying to capitalize this into Dragon. They will get it. And there is still hope. There is still hope for potentially a Cloud Soul here as the Abyssal Voyage does come through from Frexy. That might have been a mistake here from Kitchen. And he goes in for the Grey Elf, will fall. River is now going to be the target of another play. Lilting Lullaby is going to be used. River does have Cleanse, but will get hit by the death sentence and is going to be able to get a nice root. Will be able to make it a 1-for-2 for the time being. Ziggy is now in trouble. ZZ5 is on the way. Going to try to find the seismic shove onto Solus, but can't quite do it. It ends up being a 2-for-1 TDA.
Oh God, that was like I had hoped that when ZZ5 showed up, I think if ZZ5 had the ult off cooldown there, they could have gotten the cut off the retreat angle and push multiple with the seismic shove, and we could have seen some big highlight reel moments from a player who has already had a fair amount of highlight. But oh my God, this top lane!
Oh my God! Hajime, you just murdered a dragon assisted by the tower. What a play.
Yeah, Ikazuchi just, I think they just got caught with the W running, so they took tower aggro and they got flipped back. And super good awareness from Hajime to take that play and make the outplay from a lane that's been otherwise fairly even. I mean, dead ass 69 to 69 in farm. Got ganks in mid here.
All right, ZZ5 is going to miss the play, but is now looking to be able to go in for the 1v1. Gets the stun from the Unraveled Earth, but will get hit by the death sentence. That is going to be Odaro. That's a kill secure.
All right, so like I often say, my second favorite thing to kill gold is assist gold, but that feels a little bad. Like you kind of want that gold onto Buckby to try to catapult the lead or to catapult the Corki into that mid to late game status. You see the Corki has just like an assortment, like a hodgepodge of items that's gonna go into the mirror mana as soon as they have the gold, but like until they finish that item, it doesn't feel great. So getting that extra bit of gold, that 150 difference between the kill and the assist would have been potentially big. But
yeah, it was
still feeling good.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting for sure, but we are going to get a 3v3 here in the bottom lane, but it's TDA that doesn't know it yet. Ziggy's going to be able to get the slow onto Solus. Solus gets targeted down, and that's one kill for Ziggy, and now the Weaver's Wall. The Devourer's going to land on a Convey. The Seismic Shove onto Eldaro. It's such a play here from the side of a Kitchen. They end up getting a third kill. And it's now a massive play for Kitchen, 3 for 1.
Oh my god, I thought ZZ5 was gonna die to the Lilia passive anyways, but actually managing to survive and getting the sustain from red buff to make it look like it wasn't even close. And a nice dodge on the Super Mega Death Rocket. Like, they called it out, and just that little bit of sidestep. So many people would just have their shop window open.
That's me, actually. I've gotten hit by so many in that play. Hajime wants to be able to get into the highlight reel here, but he can't quite do it yet. But it's really big for those 3 kills, I think, for the side of Kitchen to continue to keep that gold lead up. They're only up by 600. They didn't get first Dragon, and they need to be able to get as much gold as they can get into Rivered and ZZ5 pockets, so definitely good for them to be able to find it. They might be looking for more here in the bottom lane. This is a 3v3. Convey is there. Gonna land the Swirl Seed, but not gonna result in anything too much.
Yeah, fighting actually too quick for their own good because the Lilting Lullaby is still on cooldown. But TD being able to get that first dragon is so big, even for the top lane matchup with Ikazuchi getting those passive stats. And, oh, this dragon's coming up soon, and Buppy has the package. So TD is looking very aggressive because the Weaver's Wall is on cooldown still. Oh, but that's their target.
Yeah, Hajime, though, is going to get ignited. Will fall down. ZZ5 is going to get targeted in the mid lane as well. Going to get caught out of position. Flash will get used. Buckby will take it. So they end up getting what they want in the mid lane and the top lane. Dragon is now up for grabs, and they can't actually defend this one. Great death sentence from Odaro. Rivered will fall, and that is 3 kills and the lead for TDA.
So many of those hooks have gone wide for Ardaro, but absolutely landing them when it mattered. And River having to burn the cleanse, but the Lilting Lullaby coming in afterwards anyways. Just nothing they could do there. And it's a super even game. Like, I was a little worried. Excuse me. Oh, got fighting in the top with Ikazuchi going for a counter jungle.
That looks like that was an oof moment. Hajime hits the blast cone, unfortunately, and Ikazuchi will survive. So not going to be anything issued there. Unfortunately, Jeeves, we are both incorrect on our Dragon predictions for Game 2. It ends up being a Ocean Rift and an Ocean Soul, so that little bit of health regen and that soul, if it does land, will be that extra mana regen in fights, which can be impactful, but I mean, we're still 10 minutes away from that happening. First Rift Herald does look like it is going to get potentially taken, and does get taken by Ziggy and Kitchen. So overall, this is still a fairly even game.
Yeah, super close. This could go 100% either way. I should have kept my Ocean Dragon faith from Game 1, but I regret nothing.
No, of course not.
Yeah. Like, there's no real, like, massive difference in any of the lanes. Like, every role except for support is a little bit in the lead for TD. And when I say support, I'm talking Kench Thresh, because Senna super doesn't count as the support.
No.
But, like, the gold differences are so minor. It's just like a couple hundred gold here, a couple hundred gold there. So it's like, the game couldn't be any more even. Oh my god, Ikazuchi.
Yeah, gonna force the flash out of Hajime, even though the Fear Beyond Death was used. Doesn't even come close to being able to get the execute, but we do get a play in the mid lane. Nice dark passage from Odaro, and it keeps Solus alive.
Oh, the minions were there to block the route out of Rivered, so the follow-up play wasn't there. But Frexy has been so on point this game with those the dives. You are much better with the ability names than I am.
Yeah, the it's Abyssal Dive. It's Abyssal Dive. I remember it from when he had Abyssal Voyage as the ultimate. But
Okay.
no, it is Abyssal Dive. He has been on point with them. Rift Herald did not get much of anything done for Ziggy. It does get dropped in the mid lane, so it is down to about 10% HP, but they don't open up the mid lane for Kitchen, which is very impactful because TDA still has control of a lot of the map.
Yeah. Yeah, the map control is really not. A lot of the map control is focused on the bot side of the map, which makes sense for how the game's been played. The top lane's been on this island and going just back and forth as we've seen. And that should be top lane's actually swinging pretty thoroughly into TD's favor with this Bork being finished. But the rest of the game has been entirely focused on the bot lane, and like I don't think Ziggy's shown up in top since other than that Herald. Like it was just that early couple ganks onto Ikazuchi, and it's been 100% bots. So that makes sense for the vision being focused, but it's not the same on Kitchen because they have a lot of words being dropped in the or some of that's gone away as I've been talking and rambling. But they had a lot more vision in that topside river, and I guess the idea there was to do more of the setup for that Herald play in case it was contested. Just nice route.
Yeah, great route there coming in from River. Gonna force out the flash from Solus, but now we're gonna see the play coming in against River. We've got the cleanse getting used to be able to get away from the death sentence, but Solus will be able to pick up one. Ziggy is now in a 1v3 as Convey goes golden. Buckbee's gonna come through with the Valkyrie and the damage on to River and Ziggy. It's a double kill for Buckbee.
I did not see what happened with ZZ5 there. The Weaver's Wall went on cooldown, but Talia didn't come in. I don't know if that was an accidental cancel or what happened there, because it felt like they were it felt like Kitchen went into that fight thinking the other shoe was gonna drop. Like they thought they had the big brain play, and it looked like from what we saw in game one and how they played so far in game two, like I expected ZZ5 to show up. Like that looked like them making the play. But it didn't happen. And as a result, TD gets their third dragon. They've got a 3,500 gold lead, 3,700 gold lead, and they are looking really good.
Yeah, this is a really, really good position here, I would say. I would agree with you. It's that opportunity for the early game advantages that potentially you would have gotten from Ziggy and from Frexy getting these nice Abyssal Voyages have not capitalized upon. And now Buckbee is 5-1-4, has 2 items unlocked, and has had that stopwatch in their inventory for a good 10 minutes and hasn't had to use it yet. So you're really scaling up nicely if you're TDA, and you're looking to potentially take this game to win. You're in a good position to do so.
Oh, and that feels so bad for Kitchen. They sent the 4-man squad up to try to take out Ikazuchi, but Shivata just pressed W and walked away from all of it. And now they're...
Yeah, Lilting Lullaby is going to get used onto Frexy. The Dawning Shadow is going to come in, going to deal a little bit of damage, but the Seismic Shove not going to be able to be the damage that they're looking for, and TDA is just able to collapse upon the back line of this squad. Kitchen goes down, and TDA gets the ace.
Oh my god, what a clean team fight. Just everything went TD's way, and they're gonna... They shot up to a 6.5k gold lead from that fight, and it's gonna balloon out of control with this Baron. I'm not trying to curse anyone, but it's gonna be a tough game to lose for TD with this Baron buff. And especially, like, we saw in that last game how Kitchen had trouble with the comp they had drafted trying to siege down turrets. With Corky and Jinx, that is not a problem at all. Those two are going to melt through these turrets. I fully expect to see the gold lead shoot out of control as Ikazuchi is once again getting collapsed on in this bot lane.
Yeah, does have the Dragon's Descent, is going to go in for the 1v4. I don't think you survive this one. ZZ5 very close to going down, but Hajime will be able to pick up that kill. Buckby, though, is just putting down the damage in the mid lane, and River is down to less than 50% HP.
So, I'm not the mid lane expert here, but seeing the Everfrost for the second game in a row onto ZZ5, like I get it on Ari because that's the pick potential with the Spirit Rush, but I've been hearing how the prio on Everfrost has gone down since this patch with the durability being up, and so mid lane champions and these mages, they need the additional damage. Do you think, because you're the Talia expert, so I'm deferring to you, do you think an item like Leandries or Luden would have been the better call for this mid lane?
I think that Ludens is a really solid pick for Talia if you want to be able to get that burst damage in. The reason why you go for the Everfrost is because if you lock down any champion with the Everfrost root, it is an immediate combo into the Seismic Shove into the Unraveled Earth. Like, you guarantee
Okay.
the damage into the stuns. So, that's the play there that you're looking for. But you do have to get into melee range to land it. So it is somewhat risky to go for. And ZZ5, I don't think yet has been able to capitalize against that combo.
Yeah, like we saw it often and aggressive in the last game, but on the Talia, it's definitely been tougher to make. Oh, Buckby's got the package, and this fourth dragon is coming up in 45 seconds. TD is already on site looking to go for this.
Yeah, and they want the death sentence onto Hajime. He's going to try to headbutt in, going to flash forward. Dawning Shadows and Hajime's flash will be used. We do get a play potentially in the river. Frexy is going to try to find it as the Weaver's Wall does come through. They're going to be able to lock in a lot of members of TD, but they're just going to collapse upon it. It's a reversal, and the Uno reverse card gets unlocked. It's a double kill for Solus. We're going to get another potential kill onto Solus again. This time it's going to be Bugsby picking up that kill, is now dominating. River is going to be able to get hit by the zap. Zolus is unstoppable. The resets are coming in from the Jinx. It's going to be the second ace of the game for TD Aftermath, and they obliterate the kitchen.
Oh my god. Just, yeah, that was purely gold difference, right? Like, the fight was split up into multiple parts, and the resources that got thrown into Hajime there, like if you're Kitchen, you're like, okay, this is the go button. This is our time to shine. They used all these cooldowns. They didn't actually use all that much, but they had committed and they had been pushed too far up. And I thought it looked so good with the massive group up, and ZZ5 was going to start throwing out damage. But the turn was so big, and Ikazuchi being just this giant dragon with the massive AoE, the E burning ground and the W AoE, and even just the Frostfire Gauntlet damage from the snowy area, like just Buckby Soulless Convey pouring in damage. It's a 10k gold lead now for TD Aftermath, and it's just getting worse. This Ocean Soul is going to be so tough to deal with in fights. Like, the consistent damage coming out of the TD front line and back line even. Oh, the ulting lullaby though.
God, the Super Mega Death Rocket gonna take down ZZ5. Ziggy is gonna try to find the kill onto Convey, but the flash will be used to be able to get the Trundle into a bad position, trying to be able to pick up the kill, but no, Solus is just able to free fire onto the Troll and will pick up another ace for TD Aftermath. That looks to be the ace to end the game. Game number 2 going to go over to the red team once again.
I like full credit to Kitchen. They went down swinging. They kept trying to make plays. They kept trying to take fights up until the very last minute. But the damage coming out of Buckby and Solus, and I mean, today I learned I need to just be playing Phase Rush on Lilia instead of being greedy and taking the domination tree, because that looked so frustrating for the Trundle, for Ziggy trying to like landed the pillar. Doesn't have blue smite, so there could have been a little bit more slow, but like got the pillar slow, got the Q, I think, at one point, and Lilia was just able to keep running away.
Yeah.
Oh.
Unfortunately, it's not the early game anymore, so Ziggy doesn't actually get that big power, and he's just gonna die. I think he's dead. No, he actually does get away from that one. They don't decide to go for it, but Baron is up, and the opportunity for, I think, the end of the game to happen is now. Phyrexia is going to go in with the Abyssal Dives. The Weaver's Wall does come through. It's going to lock down some paths, but it's just going to be another just recollapse, another Uno reverse card for TD Aftermath. Buckby is legendary. 2 members of Kitchen are going down. We get a nice teleport coming in from Mikazuki. They're going to go in for the Dragon's Descent. Rivered will fall. Hajime is the next target, and ZZ5 is left to watch as the collapse happens upon them. That is going to be the game. TD Aftermath will take the win.
Ooh. 28 minutes. Really clean play. Like, the team fighting has been, like, no notes. Really, really good from TD in this game. They executed on their game plan really, really successfully. I'm impressed. I came in with kind of low expectations from how their season in BOL ended and how they lost game 1.
Both,
And I mean, like,
both play after and
oh no.
I did it. I did it. I couldn't hear you. I hit the button. Oh my god, I hit the button. I'm sorry.
It's a tough reflex to fight.
Oh man, I'm so bad. It's all right. Okay, let's regroup. Let's
Yes.
regroup because TD Aftermath definitely regrouped after going up against Mint Gaming Rocky Road. They take the win, they secure the victory, and they end up going 1-1. Um, what a play! What a really solid performance again from TD Aftermath, taking it to Kitchen, who I thought was going to be able to take it, and they proved me wrong once again. My prediction for the team to win has been wrong once again.
Yeah, I think coming out of this, we've learned that you and I are cursed. We might have to go different ways on our predictions with this next game, so that way at least one of us has a correct prediction before the end of the night.
Probably. That's probably what we're gonna have to do. But we're gonna bring in the only member of this team that has gotten any sort of team prediction correct, and that is Redacted. Redacted, I am curious to know, like, what your thoughts are on what actually happened in this game for Kitchen, because I felt like they were a completely different team.
Yeah, it was very interesting how Kitchen played that game. I don't know, maybe, they were feeling themselves and just the juice got to their head and they got a bit overloaded, and I'm not too entirely sure, but I will say for team Aftermath, they played really well. They played to their strengths. They were all over the map. They protected the Jinx and got Jinx going very early. Um, as we all know, with the Senna Kench lane, you play for later. You're playing to scale and whatnot. You don't want to be as aggressive too early in that bot lane. So if you're already laning into a Jinx, you know you need to be a bit more cautious, a bit more patience, and that's a lot of thing I feel like with some teams, And certain players, like you see this in solo queue, it's okay to lose early game gracefully because you have the potential to come back and win later. Obviously,
Yeah.
with an asterisk there, like as long as your mid top jungle don't feed. um, but as a bot lane, it's okay to like you don't have to win the 2v2 matchup. Just try your best to survive and get gold and go on from there. But yeah, no, I'm happy Aftermath pulled out the win and really convincing win because now in my opinion that brings some parity within the group, it doesn't
Yeah.
look like especially and once again in terms of the group, Kitchen and Aftermath are both like the weaker teams of the group because of the leagues they come from, right? Aftermath being the elemental rep, Kitchen being the Risen rep, and that's just some of the bias against them and their leagues. That's not to say that they are the weaker teams, but like for this matchup, this was like the weaker of the two teams that played against each other. So Aftermath getting win is really good for them because now they're not in an 0-2 hole. Kitchen getting that loss, of course it sucks, but you're both 1-1 now. This also creates some juicy tiebreaker scenarios. So like, what if
Yes,
every
sir.
team goes, every team beats each other once? So, or actually, yeah, if every team beats each other once, that'd make some interesting math. Good thing I'm not the math major, so I'll leave that to those folks to figure out. Um, but yeah, so I just think that was
Ooh.
quite unfortunate for Team Kitchen, because I was rooting for them. So now I'm 1-1 as well. Oh, look, our records are also matching. We're all 1-1. Well, actually, you guys are 0-2.
We're
I'm 1-1.
0-2, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
are 0-2. I'm 1-1. I'm le- I'm leading the group for us casters and hosters right now. But yeah, what do you guys think? What else do you think went wrong in that game? What could have went better before we cut to a short break as we prep for game 3?
Um,
All right.
I feel like Kitchen kind of outplayed themselves a little bit. They played to their strengths in the early game, but then they couldn't keep it going into the mid to the late
Mhm.
game, and they just got outscaled.
Yeah.
I think that's just really the bottom line there.
I think when I look at that kitchen comp, especially comparing game 1 to game 2,
Mhm.
the problem I have with the game 2 comp is ease of execution. Like the Ari, the Wukong, they have very straightforward like dash in, land the thing. But like
Yeah.
the Talia, the Senna Kench, the Urgot, it's a lot more complicated. There's a lot more moving pieces that have to fall into place for their game plan to successfully execute. And you can see that just didn't happen this game. There were, even if it was just like those little differences, they built up over time and it fell apart.
Oh no, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, you put a bunch of pebbles together, it becomes a really heavy object, and then you can't carry it in a bag, right? Because all that combined weight. So all those little mistakes that you made eventually will become a snowball and unfortunately bury you.
Yeah.
But with that being said, our last game of the night will be CB Ibiza versus Team TD Aftermath. Um, don't know the match results just yet if Ibiza won their second one against Gaming.
I looked.
So
They did
oh,
lose. And gaming took that.
oh, they did? Okay, so CB so far 0-2, TDA right now, of course, 1-1. So CBI really need this win to ensure that they don't have a complete 0-3 day, night as we are. Otherwise, it's gonna be really tough for them come day 2 because they're just gonna have to win every game to get some parity in their win-loss record and try and force some tiebreakers and whatnot and things like that. So hopefully they can eke out that win. Otherwise, it's gonna be a rough road for them. But we will find out here shortly as we prepare for that game. But we're gonna cut to a short break and we'll be right back.